Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. This is Shawnee,
And this is Rhodey,
and welcome to
not
Not
your
Your
average
Average Church
church
Girls
girls podcast
podcast with the Z.
with a Z.
God bless you,
We all
good
doing
people.
today.
What did
We,
you say?
I said, how's everybody doing today? It is warm where I am.
I'm not warm. I'm actually on a heating pad.
Oh my.
Yeah. Um, today is a day. I try to I'm trying as I get older, I'm trying to look at the glass more full than empty. So I'm trying to be very more optimistic and look at my blessings and look at all the pros, and stop trying to focus on the cons or the negatives of of situations I'm going through. So, the
Well,
fact is, as Christian people, sometimes we try to make everything so spiritual, spiritual. But the fact is, we're still human beings. We still go through stuff. Sometimes life just sucks. Even as a Christian person, you could be at a point in life where life just sucks.
yeah.
And, you could be going through stuff in your body where, regardless of how many healing scriptures you're reading over yourself, how much you anoint yourself with the anointing oil, that your body is still wrecked in pain. And so there's that. And I don't mean to sound so somber and just like, oh,
Well,
but
if you don't feel great, that's okay. Like you said, you're not happy all the time.
no, no, life is not always a bed of roses. Well, at
Oh,
least my life.
I'm not always waking up dancing. I don't know anyone who's always waking up dancing. So if you're not feeling great, it's okay to say so. I'd rather you say you don't feel great than, keep faking a smile for someone else's benefit.
I think so many people, whether they're Christians or not, I think so many of us do that. I think so many of us always have a smile on our face, and if people only knew the stuff that we were going through behind closed doors, or the things that we were going through in our minds, or the things that we were enduring in our bodies, or the NSF fees that we have in our bank accounts. You know what I mean? Like, if people only knew sometimes that the a smile can be very deceptive. That's what I always say. A smile can be very deceptive. So, but I'm alive, and I realize I'm better off than a lot of people. I have a roof over my head. I have food to eat, and I'm here. So, and I don't want anyone to take care of me in the sense of, having to pick me up, having to bathe me, that kind of stuff. So I don't want to complain.
Okay, too.
But that's not what this week's topic is about, because Rhodey want this week to be more of a chill week and more of a relaxed week and just not so heavy, because last week I guess we went kind of heavy. So she wanted to give you guys a break this week and talk about something I guess a little bit more fun.
Lighthearted.
So that's the word she said, lighthearted. So tell the good people what our topic is for this week.
Well, the topic for this week is about church bus trips. And I don't know about you, but since I am a preacher's kid, a pastor's kid, I've been in church my whole life. I have taken my fair share of church bus trips. And some moments, most of the moments were funny, some of them not so much. And we just wanted to talk about that. And if you guys have had any experiences with that, we would love for you to comment on it and tell us about it. And as always, we want you to like, comment, and share. And we are going to get started talking about it. So I have taken church bus trips from when I was a very little kid. The first few were probably to amusement parks, and you were so excited to be doing something that was not in church, and you didn't care that everybody's lunches were in the cooler getting kind of wet from the ice, and it seemed like forever to get to the amusement park. And then you're on the rides and you're feeling so happy and you're feeling so free. It was great to be around friends. I was looking through some old pictures the other day, and I have pictures of us. We would go on some church trips. We were like maybe 7 or 8 years old, and I remember having a really great time. And as the years progressed, sometimes you would go on trips because your pastor had to preach somewhere or you had to sing somewhere. And some of those memories just always make me happy. You're with friends, you're with family, you stop to eat, and you're getting out of your own comfort zone. Even if it is for a church bus trip, you're getting out of town, you're experiencing different things. Have any good memories of bus trips, Shaniqua?
I do. I remember that I used to like when we used to go to New York, specifically because my daughter's father would always meet us at the church, and that would give my daughter an opportunity to be able to see her father.
Oh, well, that's
Um,
nice.
yep, he would always come up to the church, and that would give her an opportunity to see him. So I enjoyed when, and not just for that, I enjoyed just being back into my home state. It's something nostalgic when you go back to, even if it's not the area where you were actually um raised in, just the knowing that you're in the state and in the vicinity of where you you know were raised and born and stuff. It's something, it does something to you. When you see it, for me, when I see the corner stores, and well, what I call, people, other people probably call bodegas, I call them corner stores. And I used to love that. I used to love when we would be on the bus trips, whether we was going to Cape Charles or going to New
Now, Cape
York.
Charles always made me think about home because my family's from Virginia.
Okay, okay.
So whenever we were down that way, I'm like, if we drive a little bit further, we can go over the bridge and be by my family.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
my family, most of the ones who live down there live on the other side of the Bay Bridge.
Okay, 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 okay. And what I loved is also um when they would just break out randomly with church songs. Like
Yes,
someone in the back would start singing something, and then somebody in the middle would take over. Then someone at the beginning of the bus would join in, and people start clapping. And or I have memories of them playing videos of different, I guess, other people conferences or gospel videos as we're going down to wherever we were going. Um, and I remember the secretary always used to have a lot of snacks and passing the snack bag. What do you want? You see something here you want? So that was just, it was a time just to be able to be together, like you said, to be able to be together in a way that's outside of the church building.
and you're not doing the same old service.
Yes,
And
yes. And you get to fellowship with
yes, and
other people,
if you went to someone else's church and they could cook really well,
like Kate Charles. Oh my God.
and I cannot remember the name of the pastor up in Berwyn.
No, that's what I was going to say. That's the next one I was going to mention. That was my. We didn't take the bus there. We normally would all drive our own vehicles, or sometimes we would get on the church van. But that was
Yes,
one of my places I love when we used to go to Berwyn. Elder, I don't want to say his name, but he passed away. I
yes, he passed
loved
away, but his
going
wife,
there. Oh
look,
my God, that chicken salad, that corn on a cob,
her job was so good.
baby, that fried
I asked
chicken.
her,
Oh my,
I yeah, I cooked for those of you who don't know, but she made best corn on the cob. And I just asked her, I'm like, what do you do to it? And she told me that she soaked it in milk before she cooked it.
Yes. And I've heard that before. And heard that before. And I've tried that and it didn't make a difference with mine. So
So maybe she might have told us what she did, but she didn't tell us how she did it.
yeah, because I've heard other people say that too, like that they soak it in milk and stuff like that. So I've tried that. And like I said, but again, this is coming from someone who I would not classify myself as a cook, whether it's a home cook, a chef. I would not put myself in a category of, or you know, how people, oh, I like Rhodey just said, I can cook. No, I would never put myself in that category. Could I feed you? Am I extremely clean in the kitchen? That's what I always tell people. One thing I need you to know, I'm extremely clean in the kitchen. So, um, however, I don't like to say I'm a cook because I feel like when you tell someone I can cook, people automatically have an expectation.
But that's kind of wrong too, that people have that expectation because.
Well, Rhodey, if you're telling me I can cook.
What I mean is, yes, I can cook, but do not expect my potato bread to taste like your mama's potato bread.
Right, but most people don't think like that. Most people think if you say I can cook, they feel like you can burn across the board, and most people feel like that the food. I don't know why people have this, and this is me just thinking this. I feel like most people feel like the food should taste like what they're used to, like their taste buds used to.
That's the point I'm making. It's not going to taste like your aunt's potato salad because
right.
I'm not your aunt, and it's not going to taste that way.
Absolutely, but you can still cook. Like for example, my daughter father is from Trinidad, so when I had my baby shower, his sisters bought this potato salad, and anyone from the Caribbean probably could attest to this. This was new for my family and I. We have never seen this kind of potato salad before. It was that potato salad where they put the peas and carrots and different things. And my family was like, what is this? Like, they was like, what is this? However, and this is something you're going to be pleased by. When I tried it, although it was out of my comfort zone, because it didn't look like what my norm or what I was used to seeing in potato salad, I tried it. And when I tried it, I was like, yeah, this is good. I mean, it was different than my mother's, but it was right on the same level, taste wise. Like it was really good. So, and it reminds me of my best friend used to date someone who was Puerto Rican. And for Thanksgiving, his mother made, I believe it was some type of stuffing, but it's not stuffing like what we would consider. And I say we, I'm assuming I would say probably say maybe Americans, but that may just be too general. Say I don't know what I say what I'm accustomed. It's not the stuffing or the dressing like the cornbread, that kind. It wasn't that kind of stuff. It was very dark. It was very dark. I have to ask her the name of it. And to me, it was totally different than what I have ever seen. I just was like, well, what is this? And I was very reluctant because I told you I'm not huge on trying a lot of different things. I was reluctant on trying it. But Brody, when I tried it, oh my God. When I tell you that thing was so good, it was so, it was, when I tell you it was delicious, I have to ask my best friend what was the name. I think she told me it was some type of stuffing. And my God, when I tell you, it was so delicious. So getting back to bus trips, eating is one of the things that we normally do when we go on bus trips.
Yes.
And that's something I have like fond memories of. Like when we go to, I always say Cape Charles because that's one of the churches that feed us really well. they normally have like stewed tomatoes and macaroni and cheese, and they have like lima beans, fried chicken, homemade yeast rolls,
And
homemade sweet
the rolls
potato
are
rolls.
absolutely delicious. I love
Huh?
those. I said I love those rolls. The rolls are absolutely delicious.
The rolls are delicious. The rolls for me are like, yes, the rolls, yes. So but Berwyn, I loved going to Berwyn.
Love going to
I
Berlin.
loved going to, and not only because of the food, the pastor, he was so charismatic. He
Yes.
was so funny. Like he was so funny. And he said something one time. He was going through a situation. I'm not gonna go into, but I'm just gonna say what he said. He said he was in a win-win situation, meaning if God healed him on this side or on earth, he was in a win situation. If God chose not to heal him and take him home to glory, he was still in a win situation. So regardless of what God decided to do, he was always going to be in a win-win situation. And I thought that was such that to have that kind of attitude was so fantastic. Think like even if God chooses not to heal me on earth and he chooses to take me home to glory, I'm in a win-win situation because I'm going to be with my father now. If he chooses to heal me on earth, I'm still in a win-win situation because have more time with my children, grandchildren, my wife. So I was like, the way he put it, I was like, it has stuck with me all of these years.
Some people say either way is victory.
What did you say?
I said some people say in that situation, either way, it's victory.
Right, pretty much. So that's pretty much what he's saying. Like it's victory for him either way. He wins regardless. And so I thought that was such a great attitude to have because when you're going through, everyone doesn't always have such a great attitude. People, in general, people don't always have a pleasant attitude. So, but that's one of the places I really enjoy going to was on Bourbon. I missed that fellowship. I missed the fellowship with the people as well.
Oh yeah, and sometimes up in New York and Harlem, we would go
Yes,
at the, our sister church up there because they are such sweet people, and
yes.
you go up there, you fellowship, you have food, you have a great service, and you really anticipate going back to them. One bus trip I've told my son about over the years, and it has nothing to do with our current church now. We used to take a lot of trips back in the day, and my mom was always a planner. She, if we went on a trip, she packed food. My grandmother would be like, here's some snacks, here's this, here's that. So I don't know why people, knowing that they're going on a trip, plan nothing like the foolish virgins. You're going out of town. You don't take money. You don't take food. You don't take an emergency pair of underpants. You don't take anything. But people would constantly come back because I would usually sit in the back of the bus and my mom would sit towards the front. And people would constantly come back and ask me or my brother and sister, it was usually me, hey, Rhodey, your mom said we could have X, Y, and Z out of y'all's lunch. So I would stand up in my loud little short voice because I'm only 5'4", and I would scream, Mom, did you say so and so could have this food?
I am back.
And she would be like, no. She had 3 kids to feed. I didn't bring enough for you not to.
I'm saying I'm gasping because I can't believe the person lied.
Oh yeah, she'd be like, no.
That's why I was gasping. Like I couldn't believe that the person lied.
People lie.
But I wasn't expecting that. I really was expecting her to actually say, Brody, calm down, or I don't know, but I did not expect her to say no. Wow. But listen, when you have 3 kids and you know you only have enough, that's why you have that. My thing is,
You know,
this is me personally.
and they
If
have
I
it.
know the trip is going so the church is going somewhere, if I don't have money, and our former pastor would be like, if you don't have money, still come. We still I'm not that person. No, I'm staying home.
I don't want to feel like I'm being a burden to someone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And plus, I guess it's also the way I was raised. My mom always taught me if you don't have your own money, you
Don't.
don't go anywhere dependent on someone else's money.
Was taught the same. Your mom did the same thing that my parents said.
So only person I would go somewhere with if I didn't have money, if they said I got you, is my mom. Because my mom tell me she has me, I know she has me.
Exactly.
So, and I know she feels the same way. If I say, "Mom, don't worry about it," I I got us. We good. She knows that. I mean, I'm not. She knows I'm not one of those people because you gotta be careful with those kind of people too. Some people are like, "Oh, I got you," but then they try to embarrass you when
Yes.
it's time to actually have. You know what I mean? Try when it's time to actually have you. They try to embarrass you and stuff like that. Now that kind of stuff I don't like.
I don't like that either. I would rather you just tell me no.
Absolutely,
Actually,
absolutely.
like you said, I probably wouldn't even go if I knew I didn't have the money.
Yep, yep, yep. I just, mm-mm. Because especially we go on long trips like 4 hours away. We all for us, we they always stopping at Bob Evans and Golden Corral. So
That Golden Corral is there anymore.
I don't know if it is or not. No, I think that one. I think the one that they initially was going to. I think that one was it, but then they started going a little further. But I
Okay.
don't know. I can't remember to be honest with you. I used to. I never went to the Golden Corral. I was part of the group that was with Sir Bob Evans.
Yeah, we just went by there on our way to North Carolina the other week, but I was
Okay,
like,
so you may be right because a lot of places are closing. So you could
I
possibly be right.
don't care anymore. But
Oh wow,
that wasn't the first time that happened on a bus trip because people
wow,
always knew that we packed food and we would be in the back, she'd be in the front. So I'd always get up and scream and ask her if she told people that they could have something.
wow. Well, you know what? That's funny that you said that because the secretary in our church, because she always has snacks. Like I used to always bring stuff for Ashley and I, or I always made sure that we had our own stuff because I'm not going to depend on anyone else's bag. So I always make sure we had our own stuff. But I know there's people who would not bring stuff. Speaking of like what you're saying, because they always relied on the secretary. Oh, I know she go bring
I
stuff.
know she has something. Which to me makes zero sense. If you know you
Absolutely.
want to go on any trip, even if it's not with the church, if you're going with your family, if you're going with your friends, and
Yep.
you know that we're going to be stopping to eat or something like that, why on earth would you go on a trip and know that you don't have any money, you don't have any food?
People have done that too. People have done that. People have done that. They actually have. And my thing is, even if the pastor says, if you don't have any money, come on anyway. I'm not gonna put that burden on my pastor.
Exactly, especially if I know I'm not going by myself.
Absolutely.
Let's say you're going and you have children with you or something like that. Don't just get on the bus. This is a sidebar because it's not really church trips, but when my son was much younger, I was like the field trip mom. I was, every field trip I was on it because I worked the second shift, so I was able to go with him a lot of the time. And I can't tell you how many times
But that's
parents,
a blessing.
yeah, at the time I worked the second shift, so I was always like the field trip mom or the classroom mom or something like that. But I can't tell you the number of times that people would send their children to amusement parks with no money,
Wow.
with no
Wow.
lunches. If you can't afford to buy a lunch at the amusement park, which it is very expensive, I can't blame you
Hmm.
for that, but at least send a lunch.
Well, I remember growing up. in all honesty, we didn't have much. And I remember like when we would go on school trips, not like to amusement parks or anything like that, because I don't remember us going those kind of places, but we did. I probably don't remember because I didn't go, because
Oh,
you know. But like if we was going to maybe a museum or a zoo or something like that. And I remember when my mom's, most people used to have heroes and stuff like they would go to the corner stores and get heroes and
and for you who
um
don't know what she means by hero, she means a
oh
sub,
like a sub, like for people who
sub or
a sub or a hoagie,
a hoagie. Yeah,
um um so they would go to the corner store and get heroes and stuff like that. And my mom didn't always have money for me to go to the store and get a hero. I never forget this one time I cried. I was in fourth grade. I never forget crying because my mom sent me to school with leftover pork. But we only thing she had to make my lunch with was we had some leftover pork chops from the night before,
that
and she
sounds
made
great.
me a, but not when somebody's in fourth grade, Brody, and
Listen,
everybody
I
else is
want
and
to say
everybody else eating a hero sandwich, and I'm sitting there with a pork chop sandwich, and people was like, "What is that? What
And
is that?"
I know it doesn't feel good when you're in fourth grade, but
No, it does not.
it
Right
does.
now, it's different, but at that time, I was so embarrassed. And then I had somebody, a friend of mine, I never get her name was Raven. I can't remember her last name, and she shared her hero with me.
Oh,
Yup, yup,
that
yup,
was sweet.
yup.
But it's different from when you're a struggling parent and you don't know any better, and you cannot do better than you can at the time. You're trying to put some food in your child's stomach. But a lot of people that would come back and say, your mom said I could have snacks. These people were grown and didn't have any children.
Why are they the worst though?
The word.
Seriously, why?
And you're like, are you serious? No, you can't have any of my stuff. And they look at you like they're crazy because I think some people are under the assumption that, well, if you're in church, you're just going to give it to me.
Yup, yup. But they must didn't know Rhodey and her mom.
But they should have, because like I said, I've been in church since I was a baby and I have a big mouth. So please don't come over here talking about, well, can I have some of your stuff? No. And if the tables were turned, I wouldn't expect you to give me some of yours, because
Absolutely.
the way I was raised, don't get me
But
wrong.
I'm the type of person, if I have something and I know someone doesn't have, now mind you, I assess the situation. Because there's some people that have way more than you, but they just want to be leeches. You know what I mean? Just want to
Yes,
leech off of everyone. I'm not
yes.
talking about those kind of people. I'm talking about someone that I know just genuinely may not have it. I have no problem sharing what I have with that person.
I
Or
have
even if I have some extra money, I'll go to that person secretly and be like, when we stop at Bob Evans, get what you want to get. Or even if you want to go to Corral, if I have cash on me, here's $20. Like I would do it like what they call the Pentecostal handshake or the church handshake. Like you don't have to do everything in front of everybody and let everyone know what you're doing.
it, yes.
So I when you first brought this topic up, I wasn't feeling this topic to be honest, because I was like, but now that we're talking about it, we did not that I took a whole lot of bus trips, but the ones that we did take, I really did enjoy. Just the fact to be able to fellowship, because when you're on a bus, you're more in a really intimate,
Yes.
environment. It's very intimate. You know what I mean?
No choice.
And uh,
You have no choice but to be, because you're all in such small quarters.
exactly. And then you find out those who snore.
Yeah, you see parts. You're like, oh, this is what you look like without your makeup on.
Right, right. Because people come up there with their bonnets on, their scarves on their heads, and yeah, yeah.
And not that we
Um,
care. Everybody looks different when they're asleep.
Listen, um, 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 somebody at a church always tell me when I sleep, I look like oh God, it's this older white man. I'm trying to think of I'm thinking Alfred Hitchcock is coming to
Oh,
my head, but that's not who it is. Hannibal.
Hannibal Lecter?
Yes, because I sleep with a CPAP.
Well, that's not okay.
Oh my gosh.
We all look a little rough when we're sleeping.
Let me tell you, Lord have mercy.
The only things that are cute when they're asleep are babies and small animals.
That is very true. That is very true. Because sometimes I sit here and look at my dogs as they're sleeping. Not that they're the smallest animals, but I still sit here sometimes. It's because it's amazing how even animals how they sleep. It reminds me of like human beings that they sleep on their backs, they have their legs spread out, they kick, all of that stuff. So you know how some people talk in their sleep, animals kind of talk in their sleep. It's weird.
People snuggle with you. People.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Don't I know it?
I remember I was coming back from Paris and there was this kid, he was about 18, 19. And the plane wasn't like completely packed. He could have moved. The stewardess was like, "You can move." He was like, "No, I'm good here." He was kind of chatty, helped the time go by. But he fell asleep and he thought I was his pillow. I was like, "Please get off me, child." Mm.
That is funny. I hear those kind of stories all the time. Well, no, it's getting even worse now because I hear a lot of people talk about playing like entitlement issues of now mind you, I have not gone anywhere in a long time, so I don't even know how this stuff works. I mean, I could figure it out, but for what I'm understanding, like if you go on a trip with a family, you can pay extra to have everyone sit together,
Uh-huh.
or you could choose not to, and you gamble and you all sit where you sit. So sometimes people, and it seems like it's always women that get upset when they ask another passenger to give up their seat so
That they
their family
pay
can sit
for.
together that they pay for, and then the person say no, they decline the offer, and they get an attitude. How you get an attitude? This is my seat. I chose this seat. I paid for this seat, and you're getting an attitude.
Like
And
I
then,
let you sit here.
well, I saw one even. I guess this lady and her husband were on a flight, and somehow she got bumped up either to first class or business class. So she asked somebody that she was sitting next to, the person mind switching seats with her husband so her husband could sit next to her. And so, the guy was like thinking that her husband was in the same class as they were, and he was like, "Okay, well, what seat is your husband in?" And she was like, "Oh, he's all the way in the back." And he was like, "In economy?" And she said, "Yes, all the way in the back." He was like, "No, I'm not switching my seat. Why would I switch my seat out of first class
Yes, exactly.
to go all the way back?" And not saying anything wrong with coach. That's what you take. That's what you take. But if I pay for first class,
First class is like an extra, depending on the airline. It could be extra $300 per seat.
it could even be more than that because I've seen it where it was more than that. So it can be very expensive. So you expect me to give up my first class seat to go so your husband come sit with you? When neither one of you guys pay for these first, you have lost your mind. And people get really entitled and get like attitudes. So this world is crazy.
Yeah, like Tyler and I went to Orlando 2 years ago, and if there's something wrong with the weather or something wrong with the plane, the flight's going to be delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen. They told us we were on the plane, and they were very transparent with us. They said there is a storm in Florida, and the plane that we're supposed to take to Florida, intercom system is out. They said it's not safe. You can't fly without the intercom system working. And
Right.
there's a storm. People were acting a whole fool. One man
Wow.
he kept saying, well, I'm an attorney and I happen to know that you have to tell us why X, Y, and Z. And I was like, are you stupid? They told all of us why the flight was delayed. What's going on with
Wow. Sir, just because you're an attorney does not mean that you specialize in knowing this information about airline
good?
and their fine print. And like, please go sit down somewhere.
All you did was pass the bar exam.
Right.
That doesn't mean
And
you're smart. It means you passed the test.
and I tell people that all the time. Listen, just because someone is a doctor or an attorney does not mean that they are smart.
Exactly.
They could have literally, and for what I'm understanding, not I know this is going completely off topic. Just think about kids at school. I heard this teacher said that they have lowered the standards so much for children to pass that pretty much if they get at least get a 50, they could pass. I'm like, are you kidding? You're not doing this child any justice.
Any help? And I've always said, I said, you children, I talk to younger people. I said, I like you, but y'all just as goofy. You don't know anything.
But they think they're so, and they're smart when it comes to certain things. When it comes to social media, technology, yes, they're smart sometimes in those ways. But when it comes to just normal common sense type things,
They don't even know the capital of the state they live in.
that is absolutely true. That is most of them don't know how. Not most of them, pretty much all of them really don't, unless they had a parent who
And
was
yeah,
in our generation or before that sat down and taught them certain things. A lot of them don't know how to mail a letter, don't know how to write out a check, don't know how to write out a money order, don't know how to write in cursive.
there was
Um,
a child at our church that before COVID, I would take him to the side and I was trying to teach him how to read a regular clock because he didn't know how.
wow,
He could only read a digital clock. And
wow,
because COVID hit in the middle of our lessons, he doesn't remember.
wow, wow. I remember being in fourth grade, I had a hard time reading my clock as well. And I never forget my fourth grade teacher, Miss Turner, um, had me outside the classroom in the hallway. We used to have those big clocks in the hallway. And she had me outside in the hallway helping me to learn how to tell time.
And that's good because people, and I know we're going to get back on subject in a minute, y'all, but
If you've been listening to us for the last what 13, 14 weeks, you know that we never stay on topic.
rare that we stay on topic. We try.
We try, but we just we make an effort to stay on topic. But this podcast is not just about staying on topic. It's just about us talking and trying to help you guys, give you guys something to laugh about, give you something to think about, give you some encouragement, and help you go on about your day.
Yes, so
Prayerfully help you make you feel
you,
better about yourself.
we encourage you to please give your child a spelling test or a vocabulary lesson.
Like really, like even as an adult, what I do is this is God honest truth. I really love like English. I really love like knowing words and stuff like that. That's like now if you start about science and math, you have lost me. I don't like I when I tell you something happens to my brain where it's just like I shut down immediately. Like I'm not lying to you. Like I shut down immediately. But when it comes to like words and stuff, I really like that kind of stuff. So I actually sometimes just sit down as a hobby and I go through the dictionary and
I
I
used
read words and I read and I used to do this a lot when I was a kid. I used to do it a lot. I stay in a dictionary a lot and just reading words and definitions. And
mhm,
I do it now still as an adult.
I would read the dictionary and the encyclopedia. But
Yes. And
then,
the encyclopedia. Yes.
but back then you actually had to know your vocabulary
You
words.
absolutely did. You absolutely did.
Now
And
you
that's why I get on my daughter so much because I mentioned earlier that her father is from Trinidad. And however, although she's never been to Trinidad, she still kind of has his accent. And what I find is sometimes people spell, the way they pronounce words. So if you're not pronouncing something correctly, nine
Exactly.
times out of ten, you're not going to spell it correctly. Um,
True.
so, um, I, to be honest with you, I have a lot of educators in my family. It seems like that's what's big in my family are educators. And I told my one cousin recently, I said, my respect really go out to all your educators because I don't believe I could do it. I don't believe I could do it. Like because first of all, these children are a different breed,
They are. They,
you know,
goodness.
and I believe in respect, and the respect level is not there. Even in like I see videos of kids in preschool. And I'm sitting here like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And I've said this to you before, Rhodey. I'm so glad. I know you are so glad that we have already raised our kids.
Oh yeah.
And thank God they have turned out by the grace of God. They have both turned out really well.
Yes.
You know,
Um,
not and I'm not tooting out horns or anything like that. Like I said, it was by the grace of God because we were both single women. And if you're a single parent, or even if you're not a single parent, raising a child is not easy.
no.
It is not easy. And for
I
me, I feel like even when they become adults, just because they become adults doesn't mean the parenting stops. Because I
never
feel like
stop.
I still parent my daughter. She'll be 26 this year, and I still parent her. I still tell her stuff that's right and wrong. Like,
It never stops.
it does not. It does not. So, getting back to what we were talking about initially about bus trips. So those were my fond memories of going on bus trips. Were the food and the fellowship, and also not just the fellowship of fellowshipping with your immediate church family on the bus in a different way, but actually going to someone else's church and see how they do things. Because sometimes you have in your mind that the way you do things in church is the way everyone else does things in church, and that's not always the case. Like we may have a specific, like in my church, we have a specific way. We always start our services off with a blood song and a blood scripture. That's how we start our services off. But that's not everyone else's church.
No.
And everyone else doesn't worship God the same way. So it's nice to be around other people just to see how people um
And it's
can,
just sometimes just to get out of town. You
yes, just
just
to get away. Just to
break
get away.
break your routine some because you get up, you do let's say you do stuff the same way all the time for like 2 3 years straight, and you feel like you're like, I need a break. I need
Right.
to go visit another church. I need to go see some different people. It's not that you don't love the people but that you're with rather, but you would like to go and have some other faces to see.
Right. Right.
And some bus trips are short, some bus trips are longer.
Right.
And the long ones, you're like, oh, especially when you're younger, I got to get out of town. I got to see different people. And you could, at the time when we were younger, there was not nearly as much stuff going on as there is now. So you could say, I went to New York, or I went to Baltimore, or I went to DC, blah, 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 blah. You're telling all your friends all the fun stuff you did. You didn't really go to those places. You went to a
Right.
church in the area,
In
but it
the
seemed
area. Well, it's pretty much the same way a lot of these celebrities feel when they go when they're on tour or when they go to these places to perform. Many of them tell you like, I have been to this place, but I have not seen the place. Like I was there for 24 hours, but I didn't get to enjoy the place because I was in rehearsal. I did the performance, and then I was back on a plane or on the bus, and we was back going to the next state or the next country. So,
I know what on a very small scale, I know what that feels like. You go somewhere to sing, you weren't actually there. You went there, you sang, you might have had to wait in the back room for a couple of hours, and you get back on the bus and you go back home.
Right. So I I do think everyone should experience like life outside of church.
Hmm. And that's
I
another
think
thing you
I
might
think
be.
that's extremely important.
You can experience things at another church that you may not get to experience. Maybe they
Right,
are,
that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like you see people conduct themselves and do things differently. Right.
maybe somebody, the other church is really big on congregational songs, but your church is basically the praise team sings all the songs. So
Right.
it might be a great experience for you to do that.
Or even like I know initially before COVID, when we used to have after our blood song, our blood schedule, we would do prayer, but it wasn't like it was corporate prayer, but it wasn't corporate prayer because we would all go down on our those who could would go on their knees or go to the altar. We would pray for a certain amount of time till whoever finished, no, everyone finished praying.
We didn't rush
Um,
anybody.
right. And then when I used to go to other churches and see that's not how they did their prayer. Somebody would be at the microphone, which how we actually do it now. Someone would go to the microphone and like pray, and everyone would just join in on that way, like listen to that person pray. And that was like at first when I used to see that, I was like, oh wow, okay. So it is very interesting, and that's why it's good to go and fellowship with other people.
You can see what's going on.
Absolutely. And also, what I want is just because someone doesn't do things the way your pastor is doing it for his church or for her church, does not mean that this person is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, just
Bishop
because this
Patterson
person,
said,
I'm sorry,
Bishop Patterson said that. He said there are people who truly believe that if you don't go to their church, you're not really saved.
people, no, for real, for real. Like, I believe there's people that felt like that about our church or about even about our organization. That if you
Oh,
didn't attend our church or don't attend our organization, that like, what? Are you serious? Are you for real with what you're saying?
they're very serious. And if you ask them for an explanation, they can't really give you a good one.
No, no, no. Or they give you something that's so superficial.
You're like,
And
that's stupid.
exactly, pretty much.
Because
Or
it's
how you have taken this scripture completely out of context, ma'am or
out
sir.
of context.
Um, Sorry if you guys hear that noise. The ice cream truck, which is very rare. I never had the ice cream truck come in my development.
I can't.
Um, okay. So,
There are people, for whatever their reason, maybe their pastor told them, maybe their parents told them that they are not really saved, that they don't go to your church, which makes absolutely no sense because that's not what the Lord set up. The churches are about getting a better relationship with the Lord, not
absolutely,
not whether,
absolutely.
you know, sister so and so or brother so and so is always the one who does the offering or always does the announcements. No, that has like nothing to do with whether or not you're saved.
You know what my thing is? I say this all the time. I truly believe this. I truly believe people are going to be so surprised, and probably I'm probably going to be one of those people as well. When we get to heaven, be so surprised about the people we see there and the people we don't see there.
Exactly. Because you
Um,
swore that, Sister Angela was a slut and she'd never make it in.
or somebody is not faithful according to what you deem to be
Standard,
faithful.
yes.
You know how many people are funny with that faithful thing?
Oh,
Because if you're not faithful according to what they consider faithfulness, um,
I love you dearly, but if I need a break or if I'm doing something else, I'll let you know. I'll tell you, hey, I'm not going to be there.
Yes, you do.
I'm not going to be there, and I just don't go, because being faithful to your church doesn't mean that you can't miss a Sunday
Right, like we said the other week.
or that you can't go on vacation.
Absolutely. And the bottom line is, it's about being faithful to God. It's about being faithful to God.
Not
Because
saying you.
there's people that's faithful to church, but they're not faithful to God.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's another that's another topic we can talk about. Because that's something totally different.
But
There's a
like,
lot of people. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, but getting back to the subject a little bit, like we said about taking trips, it's great to take church bus trips. It's great to fellowship with other churches.
Absolutely.
But maybe there's a church that you want to check out by yourself. It doesn't mean you're going to leave your current church. You just maybe go over there and see what things are like.
Absolutely. And honestly, because Rhodey just touched on that, and I've said this in my own church. God did not say that we had to join one church and stay with that church for the rest of our lives. If God is calling you to go to another church, or even if God has not told you, if you choose, if you feel like the church you're in is not feeding your spiritual man the way it needs to be fed, it's okay to pray and ask God to lead you somewhere else. I don't
That's
believe you have to stay in one church for the rest of your life.
it's true.
But I remember this was before I joined that church, even before I was saved. When they used to go to talk about New York, when they used to go to New York, and my cousin telling me the story of one of the young ladies. She's an adult now, obviously, but one of the young ladies, when they first, I guess, maybe one of the first trips they took to New York. When they got there, she said, "Oh my God, they don't even have grass up here."
What?
Oh my gosh. I was like, Lord have mercy. And so this is why it's important as well to take trips, not just, whether it's church trips or not, to take your children out of their current environment sometimes. To let them know, yes, there are places that don't have good grass everywhere. Yes, there are. That have more concrete than they have grass.
I always say there is more to your life than just the 6 blocks that surround your house.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
I told a couple of the younger ones at our church that, these kids today, like Shaniqua said, they are so different. They think they know everything.
Absolutely.
And I have told them more than once, I said, there is so much more to life than just what you know. And they looked at me like I was crazy because, of course, they didn't know what I was talking about. I said, you'll find out one day. I said, trying to explain it to you now is pointless. But there's so much more to life than just what you know. And you're going to find out if you keep an open mind that
Hmm.
more than what you know. There's more even than what your parents, your teachers, your neighbors told you. Go find out about the world. Because like Shaniqua said, when you get to heaven, a lot of y'all might have a stroke once you get to the pearly gates, because you can't believe what happened or what you might have been able to do that the pastor or your parents or whoever told you couldn't do, and you're like, oh, I could have done that.
That and that's a totally different topic right there. That is a totally different topic. That goes back to something I said maybe a couple of weeks ago when I said, don't allow someone else's conviction to be your conviction.
And that is true.
Because some people would do that. If they're convicted for something, they'll try to make that conviction to be your conviction.
You're like,
If
no,
if you have a conviction with dyeing your hair, your gray hair, that's between you and God. I don't have a conviction with dyeing my gray hair. I want to dye my hair. Well, I
there's
haven't, but
someone
you know
that
what I mean? Like that, I mean, that's something minor. But I'm just saying sometimes, even sometimes it's something just that minute as well. That people like, you shouldn't do that. Or I don't drink soda. Or I don't eat red meat, so you shouldn't either.
there's a bishop that I know who said when he was younger, I think there was a deacon in the church that told him, if you have an afro, that's against God's will.
Oh wow.
And I'm
Wow.
like, no.
Wow.
Someone that used to go to my dad's church who feels like if you are a woman, you should not wear a wig. You should wear your hair natural.
Yep. A lot,
Only
yep.
only way reason you should wear a wig is if you have a medical condition or if you're like over 70 years old. Bruh, you didn't pay for
Wow.
my hair done. So what's it to you?
Wow. See, there's a lot of people that still feel that way. And again, that's a totally different topic too, because
You know, you don't have the right to tell me how to do those things. But slightly getting back to our topic, the I would say most of the bus trips I've taken for church were better than they were worse.
yes, yes,
But there are some, whoo,
because it's that time. That's the time where everybody just is like on the same level. Like it doesn't matter what your title is in church. Everybody's kind of like on the same level, and you're there just to have fun. It's not. It's like you're not there trying to pretend to be something you're not at that moment.
because
Or
there are every facet, but especially it seems we love our church family, but a lot of times people will put on such fronts
that's
and
what I mean. That's what I mean exactly.
getting on a bus, especially if the trip is longer than 3 hours, really let your guard down.
That's exactly. That's what I mean. Like we're all on the same level, and that's the perfect way. Like your guard is down. You're more relaxed, so you get to sometimes see people in a way that you normally wouldn't see them
Mm-hmm.
in the church setting. Or maybe just to be able to communicate, and maybe it could be someone that you've seen in your church for years, but you never had a no, never had a conversation with the person. You never even heard the person laugh. Some people you never heard them speak before, and
Yes.
you know what I mean. Then you're on a bus trip and you heard, oh my God, was that you laughing? I didn't know you could laugh.
Or, I didn't know you liked um whatever. I didn't know you could do. Let's say you learned that they're a great artist. I didn't know you even liked art or anything at all because
Absolutely, absolutely.
I have had
Or
conversations with people that were not necessarily in. They were in church, but it wasn't like a church service. And you're like, I didn't know that you actually had a personality under there.
but exactly, exactly. So, like Rody said, I believe like church trips, it allows everyone just to let their guards down, and more people. I feel like you get to see people for who they really are most times.
And it can be great, or you can find out, most of the times you find out things about people that are more interesting. sometimes you
Hmm.
find Sometimes you find out, hey, I really didn't like that person. But most of the time, most, most of the time it's a better learning experience. You get to know something about them. They might like the same movies that you like. They might like the same music that you like. They might like to go to the same park you like to take walks in. It doesn't mean you have to hook on to them and hang out with them all the time, but at least it's something that maybe you could relate to them about. Because maybe when they're in church and they're at their post or whatever the case may be, everybody isn't like me and will just walk up and talk to a stranger.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I don't. I'm an usher, so I kind of have to speak. to people, but I'm still weird even as an usher because I'm an introvert really. Like even though a lot of my church family don't believe it, I really am an introvert. So meeting new people or speaking to new people really is a challenge for me, to be honest. Um, and if I do it and I do it freely, like it's like wow. I always say that was God. Like anytime I walk up to someone and just start like having a conversation with them, or if I just say something, I'm like, oh, I know, because me myself, I'll be too shy to do it.
I'm not. I will talk to almost anyone.
No, totally opposite. I really am an introvert at heart. So I feel like even as introverts, I think going on bus trips um helps.
Yes, because you only have limited space on the bus, so maybe you put your bag,
Absolutely.
you put your bag above in the compartment, and maybe you can't reach it, so you have to say, hey, can somebody help me reach this? Or if, like we said, our church secretary, every trip that I've been on with her on a bus or a van, she's had snacks or something, take one, pass the rest, or something like that. So you are forced to interact with people. And if that's
Absolutely.
your natural habitat, it can teach you on a small scale. Okay, maybe approaching someone, even for something as small, can you help me with my bag? Can maybe help you open up a little bit more in a way that you may not have wanted to before.
Absolutely. I absolutely, because there's all types of introverts, and even as an introvert, I can be a very weird introvert. And I say it's weird because it may not be weird because somebody else may be like this. So it may not be weird, but I do feel like I could be an introvert to people that I like. Like I could be introverted to people that I love. Like it's weird. Like I could be introverted and what my family down south consider me antisocial. It's not that I'm just I think because I'm a loner and I'm an introvert. So depending on the mood I'm in or whatever's going on, I can be very reserved, even with people that I like, people that I love, people that I'm cool with. I can be reserved with them as well. So it's a weird situation. So
And that's
going
okay.
back to going back to what you're saying about when you're on the bus, I feel like even when you're that that kind of person, it kind of forces you to step out of that mode.
Yeah, especially like you're on the bus. It's not like being in a car or something. You can't just get up and walk off.
Right.
When you get to your destination, you can't just get up and walk off. You have to wait for people in front of you. You have to, take turns.
Absolutely. And I find most people on the bus, we look out for one another. We want to make sure the other person, are you okay? Do you have everything you need?
Or if there's somebody who has a physical disability or they're, whatever, we try to help each other out.
Right.
And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
not so bad talking to other people. I'm not saying you're going to suddenly be the life of the party, but it can help you get out of your comfort zone on a small scale.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're gonna unless Rody has some more to add, I think we're gonna bring this episode to a close.
We are going to bring it to a close, and we are so happy that you joined us today.
Yes, and please don't forget to download, subscribe, and to tell someone else about not your
Share
average church girls with a Z.
with
Trust
a
me,
Z.
they will enjoy us. We are likable people.
I think so. I think we're like people.
Yes, we are likable people. So tell someone else about not your average church girls with a Z.
We have more topics coming up. As you can see from this episode, we are not always going to shove scriptures through. We like to talk about other things as well. We could, in the coming episodes, we could talk about travel, food, fashion, husbands, boyfriends, whatever. It's not always going to be a Bible lesson, but that's good because Jesus didn't always talk about Bible lessons. Sometimes he just talked about how to treat your fellow human being, and we hope we're helping
Absolutely.
you do that as well.
Absolutely. Because there's more to life. God wants us to be well-rounded people.
Yes, he does.
And so sometimes people are going through stuff and you know, sometimes when people are going through stuff, they don't want to hear scripture. Please, I'm so sorry for the barking. I guess my dog see another dog outside. Please.
I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't? Okay, good.
Oh,
Okay, good.
Now I hear it.
Oh, okay. And so, but again, we thank you for joining. Don't forget to look for Not Average Church Girls with a Z every Wednesday morning. You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Samsung Podcast, and on Amazon Music.
Yes.
So we're all over. And you can also find us on YouTube at Not Your Average Church Girls with a Z.
Z, not an S. A Z.
Yes. Yes. And until next time, God bless you and God bless you.
See you soon.